What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, hope you're doing well. All right, what's going on, OP? What's going on, Schlutz McGee? How you two gentlemen doing today? It is a Sunday, and I said over, excuse me, I said over the last week, I said even yesterday, I'm not going to be streaming on Sundays anymore. But I just happen to have, fuck man, I just drank a ton of Mountain Dew. I scarfed down a Mountain Dew because I didn't want to be drinking it while I was doing this, so I'm just burping it back up. But I said that I was not going to be streaming on Sundays, but I had a little bit of extra time today, and because of that, I figured, you know what, whatever, I'll do my thing. I'll do my thing. Oh, you're a lady, Miss McGee, Miss McGee. Oh, you know what? I feel like we've been over that before. I feel like we've been over that before. But yeah. So hope you're doing well regardless, though. Hope you're doing well regardless. I didn't mean to misgender you or anything like that. But I really don't have much on the agenda today, obviously. I literally only decided I was going to stream like 15, 20 minutes ago. We're just gonna chill. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna talk about whatever we feel like talking about. I really don't have that much to even talk about though. Um, I just wanted to be here. I enjoy being here. Like I said, I enjoy sitting here talking to you guys and all that other stuff. So I'm just gonna see where the wind blows. Um, but yeah, I had an all right night last night. I got a fucking migraine though. I told you guys about that last night. That was frustrating. Did you see Till knock out Rockhold? Tony Ferguson won, and Dylan Dennis submitted someone in like 15 seconds. Yeah. If I didn't know the Misfits card was going to be so early in the day, if it was later in the day, or if I knew it was going to be earlier in the day, I might have actually streamed for it. But by the time I realized it was going on, it was already like halfway through. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna rush to do it. But yeah, Dylan Dennis, he got a guillotine finish. I like, people are talking about how crazy he is on the ground, and I mean, I know he's some kind of like world champion or something like that. He's a world class grappler, but um, it and like see, this is the thing that I always talk about with the fight game, and it's so frustrating. But like that dude, like let's see if we can find the highlight, right? Let's see. I'm sure we can find the highlight, right? I just want to talk about one thing. I'm not saying Dylan Dennis isn't really good. All right, that's not what I'm saying at all. Obviously, Dylan Dennis is a very good grappler. All right. Oh wait, fuck, no. Like, so this right here, right? To take down Spencer, who's a very good striker. Apparently, closed captions is on. I'm gonna shut that off. Um, uh, we'll go ahead. Right? It's like a guillotine from the top is very good, but like as soon as I saw it, I was just like, what the hell was that shot? Like, what the hell was that? Why is this dude? That was just such a weird shot, you know? And like, I'm having a hard time formulating what I want to say about this, right? Dylan Dennis is obviously very good on the ground, but I guess what bothers me is the casual understanding of the fight game, and the casual understanding of or the casual appreciation of it, where it's like, of course Dylan was gonna snatch this. I would have snatched that. Anyone with 10 minutes of jujitsu training could be taught to snatch a guillotine from this situation. You know, it's just crazy. So to see people glazing Dylan Dennis all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's just like, man, this is why I have grown to hate the fight game as time has gone on. You know, for years people were like, Dylan Dennis, that guy fucking sucks, dude. Dylan Dennis. Dude, he couldn't even fight Logan Paul. He just sat there and like took the punches, and he didn't do anything. Now it's like, dude, Dylan Dennis is a problem, man. Dylan's a fucking problem, dude. And that's the thing, is like, I don't hate Dylan Dennis. right? I don't think it's Dylan Dennis's fault. What irks me is the people who are outside of the fight game looking in, who are like, "Oh, he's a fucking stud, dude." Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that Till knockout of Rockhold was really, really good. That was it was brutal knockout. Rockhold definitely lost consciousness for at least a second. It seemed like he came back very quickly. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. What else? There was oh yeah, Tony Ferguson. That was definitely an early stoppage with Tony Ferguson and Salt Poppy as well. And that's kind of the thing is like Misfits is not what it used to be. Misfits used to be for YouTubers. That's it. It was you're an influencer. You got a TikTok, you got a YouTube channel, you're a big Twitch guy or girl or whatever. That's what Misfits used to be. But now you have actual pro fighters, some of which are UFC veterans and even champions, who are fighting in it against TikTokers and YouTubers and stuff like that. And the issue that arises with that is that referees don't ref everything the same. When it comes to an amateur fight, they're going to stop it sooner because there's no money on the line. And at the end of the day, your amateur career doesn't count for shit. It does not matter at all. You know, it all goes away. That's part of the reason why I want to have a pro fight or maybe two, is because I'll be honest with you. The trolls got to me a little bit. If I'm being honest with you, having to listen to people be like, dude, you can't even fight good because your record. It's like, all right, whatever, fine. I'll just go pro and I'll beat the fuck out of somebody who is undertrained. And then the numbers on the paper will show that apparently I know how to fight now. It got to me a little bit. It got to me just a teeny tiny bit, you know? Um, fucking like the bottom line of what I'm trying to say though, right? I didn't expect to be talking about this. I didn't expect to be talking about anything. I'm just kind of all over the place because I didn't think I was going to be streaming until like 20-30 minutes ago. But the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is these referees are approaching this as though it is still YouTube boxing when it's not YouTube boxing. Darren Till and Luke Rockhold are just fighters. That's all they are. They're not influencers, they're fighters. They are UFC guys who have since left the promotion. They got cut really a lot of the time. But my dog is being a fucking idiot. Hold on one sec. Have you checked your Twitter messages lately? My husband sent you. Oh yeah, you know what? I saw that message and I think I meant to get back to him, but I forgot. Either that or I did get back to him and I forgot that I even got back to him. But one sec, I gotta let my dog eat because he's being a fucking asshole. Hey, hey, what do you want? No, you idiot. Okay. There he is. 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 Say hello. What? What? Oh, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy. But yeah, like these referees, they look at these fights thinking, oh, this is Misfits boxing. This is like idiot YouTubers who don't know what they're doing. And they approach the whole show like that, including and especially when it's a guy like Tony Ferguson, who again was UFC caliber. He was even a champion. It was either interim or just a regular champ. But I mean, either way, he held a belt. He was very well beloved, known as a killer, versus somebody like Salt Poppy, who, when's the last time Salt Poppy fought? And then who has he been fighting this entire time? How long has he been boxing? So these referees are going to look at that and be like, oh man, but dude, Tony Ferguson's about to kill Salt Poppy. And it's like, no, that's not what was going to happen. Salt Poppy was going to take a few dings and he was probably going to get out of there, you know? Granted, I didn't see the whole fight, so I don't know what came before that, But Tony Ferguson is not known as a knockout puncher. That's not his thing. That hasn't been his thing for a long time, Right, Snoopy? Right, Snoopy? He said right. All right, I'm putting you down. Fuck it. Whoa, take it easy, dude. Oh, you big fucking idiot. You're a big dummy. Anyway, but yeah, it's damn bro, respect for admitting that. I mean, the fight game is dirty, and I figure if I'm gonna have kids and I'm gonna like that's the thing though, is my kids my kids are gonna know because I'm gonna explain to them how dirty the fight game is. They'll probably grow up seeing me train. I'm going to train them. They might be like, "Hey, Dad, you know, one day I want to be a fighter." I'm gonna be like, "I don't think you do. You know, the fight game's dirty. Here's the reality of it." Like for instance, um, Dana White's Contender Series. There's actually going to be a guy who was on an episode of PGL. You know, Mandel. Uh, what's it called? I know him as Rat Garbage because he follows me on Instagram. I follow him on Instagram. We've been we've been keeping an eye on each other's stories for a couple of years now. Yes. Dude, are you fucking why do you type in something and what you want pops up and then it goes away as you're gonna hit? But yeah, his name is Mandel Nalo. Mandel Nalo. He's a Canadian mixed martial artist, and he's actually going to be on Dana White's Contender Series this coming Tuesday. Now, the feature card, the feature fight on the feature fight on that card is going to be a guy who's actually from New England. He's fought in the same promotion that I had all of my mixed martial arts fights in. This is Cage Titans, right? He's considered to be one of the top prospects in our region, 7-1, as you can see. And I no hate towards this guy whatsoever. No hate towards him at all. Like, not even a little bit. I'm really, really happy whenever I see a dude who is coming up in the fight game from my area, right? I think it's a really good thing. I hope he beats the fuck out of this guy. I'm curious about him. This dude's 8-2, and he's from the U.S. West. He's fighting out of where L.A. You know, the L.A. has got a pretty good scene, you know. So that this guy might not be a scrub, but regardless, like let's take a look here. Let's take a look at his first couple of fights, okay? Again, no hate at all towards this guy, not even a little bit. I'm not trying to say that this guy is not good, that Jack is not good. What I'm saying is the fight game is dirty, and if you want to survive in it, you are forced to be a certain way. Oh, wait a second. This is his amateur career as well. This is his amateur career. Excuse me. Let's go to pro career. Paul Teague. Dude's 1-13. Jay Ellis, 16-111. I'm curious about who this guy is. 5-12. Trevor Goody. This guy at one point was actually considered a pretty like scary dude. He's like mad fucking tall. He's like 7 feet. But he ended up going pro, and you know, again, like, dude, why is my dog being such a fucking asshole, dude? It's so annoying. He's whining because he wants to go into my brother-in-law's room, but there's nobody in there. But you get the point of what I'm trying to make. This was his first kind of like test, you know? This guy, was he on 10-9? You know, he's been around. I'm curious about this guy now, right? 4-8. Like this is what I'm talking about with the fight game, is people look at the numbers on the paper, not understanding that a lot of the time these guys are not actually that good in the first place. This dude, in fact, let's go back, right? So this guy, Sean Rigo, oh, that was Muay Thai. Yeah. Regardless, like 1-1, right? 1-1. 0-1. You see, even I was actually gonna make a point I was actually going to make a point saying that a lot of the time these guys have easier pro careers than they do amateur careers. There's dudes that have harder matchups in the amateur circuit than they do in the pro circuit. And again, no hate towards Jack Congdon here. None at all. I'm glad a New England guy is making his way up in the world in MMA. That's a fantastic thing. I'll definitely be. I don't know if I'll be watching Contender Series. I might be training at that time, but I'll definitely be watching him when the time comes. Right? If he wins and he gets in there and stuff like that. But like, again, it's just like one in three, Mr. Snugglepuddle. Fucking. And what this was for. Yes, he won the belt off of this guy. He won the belt off of this guy. The guy was 1-1, and he won an amateur belt off of him. You know, I'm tired of hearing my dog bitch and moan, like, and it's making me so mad because I'm making a very important point. Yes, I would appreciate if everybody here would like the stream. I'm making a very good point that's very important to me, so it's really annoying that my dog is being such a fucking bitch, and I don't even want to listen to him going again. So I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna see if I can solve the problem somehow, some way. Literally nobody in. What? Come on. Actually, no, I can't leave him. There's nobody in there. All right. Hopefully he knows I'm the only one home now. But the point that I'm trying to make is the fight game is not what you think it is. I thought it was what everybody thinks it is when I first got involved. And then I got set up by a guy who was lying to get the easiest opponent that he could for an amateur fight. Not nothing real on the line, nothing huge. Like, it was our first fight each, and we were fighting for no money, no belt, no nothing at all, you know. But that guy gets to look, and he's of course he's not going to tell people, yeah, I'm 2-0 as an amateur MMA fighter. He's just going to be like, excuse me, he's not going to be like, what he's going to do instead of being honest is he's going to be like, yeah, I'm 2-0 as an MMA fighter. He's not going to mention the fact that he was just an amateur. He's not going to mention the fact that he lied about his experience level in order to get someone like me who wasn't aware of the fact that it's probably a good idea to Google people's names before you accept a fight with them, you know? And then after I fought him, I guess I was a little bit too hard because he took a fight with the guy who, and I wish I could find the video. It got taken off of YouTube, but if you watched the video on YouTube, you see, first off, the guy that he fought next was overweight. He looked like me now, right? He went out, met the dude in the middle, and threw a jab cross like that. and then he got taken down, and he got put in a rear naked choke. So that's the nature of the fight game. Oh, excuse me. Um, that's that's the nature of the fight game. Is that there's always going to be someone who's trying to be a shark in a pool full of minnows. There's always going to be that guy who has zero honor, who has zero sportsmanship, who isn't treating it the way that it was meant to be treated, but instead is treating it as something to in or I mean you it's not that you can't enrich yourself off of the fight game, but what I really was about to say was it's meant to be something that you enrich yourself in at the expense of any and all else. No sportsmanship, no gamesmanship, no honor, no looking someone in the eye, giving them a firm handshake, giving them a square deal, nothing like that. It's all about trying to get the easiest opponent that you can fight so that you can add one more win to your record, so that you can point to your record and not point to any of the fine print that says, yeah, I fought guys who had over 100 losses and less than 20 wins and things like that. So that you can then try and negotiate with some other dude in a suit to allow you to get on like a big card or something like that. And again, like I don't hate the player, I just hate the game is what it is. And that's why I'm like, nah, you know what? This whole trying to be a pro fighter thing, nah, man, fucking fuck that. I didn't get into it. I got into it for the glory, if you will. I got into it because I thought there was actually going to be honor among thieves, and it was going to be may the best man win. And that's not the way that it was. That's not the way that it is. You know. Um, and it's so annoying. You know. Oh shit, dude, rat garbage on Dana White's Contender Series. That's so fucking hype. Oh yeah, you know, like good for him. Um, yeah. What was I gonna say? It's so frustrating that I couldn't. Even if you guys know, like I wanna know that I made I wanna know that I made the point the way that I wanted to make it, and I didn't make it the way that I wanted to make it. So now I'm so upset. But what am I gonna do? Start over from the beginning? Of course not. You know, the bottom line is like if you are outside of the game, you may not 100% understand what it is, and if you're inside of the game, you probably begrudgingly accept it for what it is, but you know it's wrong. And some people, they will accept it and they will move forward and they will try to make the best career that they can out of it by being very choosy, by being very picky about who they fight, and hiring managers that are sharks who will walk into a boardroom or a wherever, or they'll get on the phone and they'll be like, "No, what? That guy's 5-2. No, 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 no. We want a guy who's like 2-5. Actually, can you find us a guy who's 2-5 instead of 5-2?" They'll do that, and yeah, sometimes they'll go far. A lot of the time, they get on Dana White's Contender Series, or they get on The Ultimate Fighter, or something like that, and then they do very well because they're fighting other guys who are like them. But then they get into the UFC where there's actual like sharks. There's dudes that are actually fucking killers in there. And when they start being given those tougher fights, you notice they kind of they fade. You know, like some of the guys that I looked up to or admired as peers when I was in MMA, guys that I got started with basically like their first fight or their second fight was the same time as my first fight or my second fight or something like that. I'm watching them kill people on the regional circuit and I'm like, dude, when that guy gets to the UFC, forget about it. And then they get to the UFC and they get their shit pushed in and it's like, oh, and I'm wondering why that's happening and I start looking into things and I'm like, oh, that's why. Oh, oh, okay. You know, the other side of that is that there's people like me who are like, no, 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 no. I ain't about to take brain damage just so some other guy can fucking go to the UFC and not even win. I'm not even gonna be able to look and be like, oh yeah, I fought that guy. Yeah, he knocked me out in the second round, but you know, I did pretty well. But you know, it's cool to see him make it. You know, makes me feel like I didn't lose to a scrub. Like there isn't even going to be a moment like that. It's going to be like, oh yeah, I fought that guy and he just got slumped. Ah, ah, you know. Undertaker at WrestleMania, greatest streak in combat sports history. I'm sure. You know, like I've made videos about what I dislike about jiu-jitsu. I got to make videos about what I dislike about MMA because like this is like when I first got involved in MMA, like again, this would not be considered UFC caliber. A dude who's 7-1 against dudes again with a record like this or a record like that would not be considered for the UFC, you know? Um excuse me. And again, no hate towards that dude. It's just a fact of the matter, you know? You actually kind of had to be like not just good but good on paper. They had to look and be like, "Oh, he didn't just beat up on tomato cans. Let's you there had to be something about you. You know, there had to be something about you. But now you don't have to, you know. I sent a link on Twitter, crazy video. Oh yeah. I'm not seeing the link unless you sent it in messages, in which case. Oh. Yellow Bamboo, a Balinese martial art that uses psychic energy. Oh, I've seen this before. I've seen this one before. One of the many bizarre workshops featured in 3 miles north of Molkom.
Breathe in, pull the energy in. Pull it down, and push the energy out the hand. Big breath. More power, more power, more passion, more power. Big. Look into the hands. Good. Good. Yes, Magnus.
I love the bathing suit.
Good. Good. You want to defend? As soon as you see me move, everything you got in there, you push it out.
Well, can we do it?
We can do it.
Right. Let's go.
Sure.
Oh man.
Are you ready? Yes, come here.
See, like whenever I see anything like this, the first thing I want to do is the first thing I think of is like it'd be so fun to go to one of these things and ham it up. Like be the guy and not just be the guy, but also be like the skeptic. Be like, I don't believe this actually works. Do it to me. Do it to me. All right, do it to me. We'll see. And then I play along, but I flop on the ground for way too long. Like not like 30 seconds, like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, maybe even 3 to 5 minutes. Just going, just just that on the fucking ground like that. Just making it really uncomfortable for everybody. This dude right here who's teaching, he's like, "Yeah, you see, I told you everybody, it works. Yeah, it works really well." So I guess sometimes it works a little too well. I'm sure he's gonna stop sometime soon. I don't know. Like I just want to see him do that, you know.
See
but
me move.
my favorite thing right here is that you see this dude running, right? Watch how he hits the ground. He doesn't hit like he just got hit with an energy blast while he was running close to what I would assume is his full speed. You would think that instead of oh like that, it would be bang like that. That's how he would hit the ground. But no, because he's fully aware of what he's doing. You know, he doesn't want to end up getting hurt, even though he's only on sand. So he's gonna do the like fall to your knees and then fall over thing, you know, which is like basically a break fall, you know. Like imagine just doing that for an extended period of time, like 3 to 5 minutes. And the dude who is instructing is just like, all right, okay, all right, dude, fucking, all right, I get it.
You ready? Yes, come here. You stand here, and Magnus and Rebecca, you prepare her.
Boom. Ooh. Ooh. Fucking bodied. Fucking bodied. Oh, man. Damn. What the... Wait, what? Huh? What? What? I saw that first part where he slams into her. I never saw this. What the fuck? Oh my. What the hell, man?
Okay,
yo,
ready to join us in the circle?
This chick is actually like really hurt. She just got smashed by this dude who ran into her full speed. You know? And he's Did he really
Okay, you ready to join us in the circle?
Okay, ready to join us in the circle. This has to be like a joke, right? Because 3 miles north of Molcom, right? Like the way it like this has to be like a mockumentary type thing. It has to be, you know. Man, OP says Kamehameha. Dude, I love the Kamehameha. I'm gonna hit that on the guy who's 5 and 318 that I fight when I do have a pro fight. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him, and I'm gonna Kamehameha, and then I'm gonna act like I didn't just beat the hell out of a guy who probably should have stopped fighting 15 years ago. Man, that is insane. Oh man, there's certain kinds of people, right? There's certain kinds of people that do certain kinds of stuff, though, right? In the martial arts world, it's funny. I actually had a dream that I was back in karate, and instead of it being me and like 2 other adults, there was actually a full ass adults class. That's part of the reason why I stopped doing it, is because I got tired of being like one of 2 people in the class, and then in addition to that, like the sparring, I expected the sparring to be good because the type of karate that I did was actually an offshoot of Kyokushin, which has some pretty good sparring. It's a lot better than a lot of the karate you'll see. But no, like basically what happened is the guy who broke off from Kyokushin, he decided that he would focus on other aspects of karate. Basically go back into what Funakoshi did, which was make it into aerobics, you know? And when we would spar, the sparring was like, it was just so watered down. I felt so dumb doing it, and it felt really annoying, you know? But anyway, I had a dream I was back in karate last night. It's funny, but, there's certain kinds of people that do certain kinds of things. Hippies would, like, this type of chick definitely would be attracted to something like this, like a hippie chick who wears those headband things, you know, a dude with a ponytail and stuff like that. Even if this was not real, what makes it so believable to me is the type of person who would be doing this sort of thing in the first place. You have middle-aged former hippies and dudes who, like, this dude's dressed in board shorts. It looks more like a bathing suit, and a rash guard. You know, I would expect a dude like this who dresses like that in public to do something like this, you know? But like hippie people would be attracted to this kind of thing because it's that mystical, spiritual, lyrical individual shit. But then you have other people like leftists, what I've noticed, are attracted to kung fu and karate, and it's because it's very low risk, very low impact, very low intensity, low confrontation, and things like that, because these people are not good with confrontation. And because of that, they train it, and they still feel like they're doing something where they could actually hurt somebody if it came down to it, you know? When the reality is they're not, you know? They're learning to hold their hands down here instead of up here where they're supposed to be held, you know? They're learning to throw punches the wrong way, etc., you know? I know it's obvious, but you'd have to be kind of careful about them getting on top of you. Would fighting a morbidly obese be kind of fun? I mean, it's like what gay guy said. You just make sure they can't yoke you up, and you're pretty much good. You know, you stay mobile, and they're gonna get really tired to the point where they're probably not even gonna be able to move after a second. You know, you stick and move, and you're fine. But like even MMA has a certain kind of guy that's into it. You know, like uh MMA guys tend to be low agreeability. They're very I forget exactly what the word is. That might even be it, agreeability or something like that. I could be wrong. They're just not agreeable people comparatively. They're the kinds of people where they're gonna say how they feel no matter what it is. Like I've seen people who are left wingers that like they're MMA guys, and they may not call you like a retard or gay or like, you know, another word that I'm not allowed to say or whatever on YouTube, or I'll get in a little bit of trouble. But they will like be combative towards you if like you get on their nerves and stuff like that, and in a real way. You know, they're gonna be like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Shut up, dude. Like the kind of way that you would not expect, like one of these hippie guys, or like again like one of those trans karate people, you know, one of those like non-binary karate people. You would not expect them to be as combative towards you as they are, you know. Certain kinds of people gravitate towards certain kinds of martial arts, and it's all a self-aggrandizing, or if not aggrandizing, it's a validating thing. It's a validation thing where you know, they want to feel like they know how to fight, but they won't do it because that's what their sensei says. Their sensei says you shouldn't fight, so they're not going to fight somebody. When the reality is their sensei is saying you shouldn't fight somebody, not because it's bad, but because they know that if you actually try some shit like that, it's not gonna work out, you know. Excuse me. Confrontational is a synonym. Jordan Peterson, Frog Boys. Fucking I know I couldn't do a good. Maybe if I practiced, I could do a good Jordan Peterson, but I would need to practice a lot to do a good Jordan Peterson. You know. The somebody who does MMA is gonna nah, fuck that. Forget about it. Fucking forget about it. I remember Fedor fought someone who's obese. Oh yeah. There was a sumo guy. Apparently, he was a sumo guy. Multiple people fought him. A guy who would actually submit Anderson Silva fought him as well. That's a very famous example of a really obese guy fighting a dude that's obviously not very obese. You know, that Ryan Rivera guy has a dirty Jordan Peterson. Yeah, Ryan is. I don't know Ryan that well. We've met a few times. He's a really solid dude, is the idea that I get of him. He's a really cool guy. I do like him. But one thing that I have noticed is that he is very, very good with impressions. He does some really, really good impressions of a lot of people. You know, you have to wash your penis, man. Like I said, if I worked with it, I know I could get it. I know I could get it if I worked with it, but I'm not gonna try and work with it now, you know. Check out Kaspin Kane fighting if you want to see some bullshito. Oh yeah, is that the old dude who's like, it's literally a cane like you would see an old woman with oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I want to be as fair as I can. This guy is not going too hard, and I feel like maybe he's just showing you the different ways a cane can move in your hand and stuff like that. Maybe. What? What? Huh? That's not gonna gonna happen that way. That's not gonna work. So I suppose if you jab somebody in the midsection that hard, it would stop them. You would not want to bank on trying to go for the arm like that. Even if he was more towards the shoulder, you would not want to bank on that necessarily. You would want to go towards an area where it's almost hard for you to miss, you know? It would be better for you to just use this as something to keep him far away, as opposed to thinking in terms of trying to stop the knife mid attack or anything like that, you know? Yeah, that's not. The thing is too, you're already way out of range of the knife in the first place. Why is this even necessary? That's another piece that a lot of people don't realize, is that a lot of these moves, it's not just that it's like bullshit. It's like, why would you even bother with that in the first place? Apparently it's something to do with the lymph nodes, but it doesn't really matter, you know? Oh, pressure points. Oh, and circulation. Ooh. That's not gonna work. How? That's not gonna work at all. you see the look. You see the look. You see the fucking look over to the camera. He's like, I like the hockey jersey or whatever that is. That's not going to get caught on there. Oh boy. And now we go polite. I mean, like, yeah, that's not a bad idea at all, but the issue that arises here is that there's nothing actually stopping this guy from moving in. So even if you get him in the nuts, there's a chance he could fall into you with the knife. I mean, look at that, right? He just stops here because that's not how things work. That's not how the human body works. If this dude is coming at you as hard as he can, even if you hit him in the nuts and he's like, oh, and like he just kind of goes limp, he's going to go limp, and he's going to continue moving in this direction, and that knife is facing you right now. You know, literally, like, if he didn't have the knife, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like, you could move backwards while you hit the dude in the nuts, but when somebody has a knife, you want to make sure there's something in between you and him whenever you can. And, of course, we have breathing and what looks like a chiropractic video at this point. We'll see if there's anything else. Yeah, you see, one of the things a lot of people don't understand about combat is that it's not about pain, it's about damage. It's about trying to break something or trying to separate something from something else so that a person can no longer do harm to you, right? Even if it is a pain thing, it's the pain of a broken whatever. It's not the pain of, oh, you whacked me with a stick, right? There's dudes, you can see videos of dudes getting nailed with baseball bats, metal, wooden, whatever, and it's like nothing even happened to them. It's because the adrenaline is rushing, and either A, something did break, but it wasn't enough to incapacitate the guy, or B, nothing broke, and the guy's not going to feel it till tomorrow. You shouldn't be thinking about things like pain. You should be thinking, how am I going to break this guy in a way that it becomes impossible for him to continue attacking me? Or at the very least, it hurts so much, the damage is so bad that his adrenaline is actually not enough to cover it up. And he has to be like, oh, fuck. he has to reconsider, because that's how much it hurt, just whacking someone with a stick is not the way that it works. And that's what a lot of weapons guys don't understand, is that your weapons technique, whatever it happens to be, has to be better than a guy who is just moving forward, swinging something at you as hard as he can. If you cannot legitimately, more times than not, and not just more times than not, because that implies that if you did it 10 times and you successfully disarmed him 6 out of 10 times, that's like good. That's still not really that good. You most like the vast majority of the time should be able to stop somebody with little to no training, who is just like, they have a stick and they're just trying to hit you as hard as they can. If you can't do that, it's not going to work out. And because of that, a lot of this stuff just simply is the efficacy of it is just not there. It's just not good, right? A lot of people don't understand how the body works. A lot of people don't understand how the human psyche works, and not even just how the psyche works, but also how you're going to work under pressure. This is actually something I'm starting to look into. Fairbairn, right? Fairbairn and Sykes, his combatives. It's two guys, Fairbairn and Sykes. Their combatives sort of like program or philosophy or whatever, right? Fairbairn is the guy who is really like known for his knife fighting and all that other stuff. One thing that I actually find myself in agreement with is that when it comes to adrenaline, when somebody is in the zone, if you will, they're not given to fine movements very well. Meaning, if I told you to reach out and touch my arm, I was holding my arm out like this. I told you to reach out and touch my arm. It'd be easy enough for you to do that when you're not full of adrenaline. But if we were in a situation where I was trying to attack you, right, and you decided you were going to try and grab my arm to stop me, you'd probably go under, go over. You might go too high up, and because of that, I hit you. And the reason for that is because when adrenaline hits, your body is not as given to fine motor function as you typically would be. It's a lot harder for you to hit that small space that you're trying to hit. So because of that, and this is what I was talking about with trying to stop the dude here, right? That's a much smaller area to try and hit. And in addition to that, you're not even using just your arm. You're using an implement that is not going to be as natural as if you were just using your arm. It's going to be that much harder. So it's better for you to go towards the area where it's a lot bigger. Therefore, it's going to be easier for you to hit and harder for you to even miss in the first place. Because if I'm aiming somewhere around here, well, it's fine if I hit here, because that's going to be relatively the same for the most part. Maybe not every time, but it's going to be similar enough. At the very least, I hit you, and because of that, maybe you can't stab me as good as you were going to originally, right? It's just that usual thing where like people have a theory and they don't actually test the theory in reality. And because of that, they end up looking foolish. They end up doing foolish things. Here we have another one I'm just curious about. Oh, wait. Here it is. So, yeah, like, if you whack somebody with a cane like that, it's probably gonna hurt them. I don't really have much of an issue with this necessarily. The dude's just kind of flowing too, right? I'll give him that. He's just trying to flow. There's nothing wrong with just a flow drill, but this is, again, something that you don't need that much practice to be able to do to somebody. What can sometimes happen with technique, and this is why I do this with hobbyists, right? Like when somebody tells me they want to fight, I start getting real serious about the finer details of what they're doing. But when somebody comes in and they're only coming like once a week to my gym or something like that, or they come twice a week, but they're not interested in the idea of fighting. Like, I just know that's not going to be for them. I don't worry myself or them so much on making sure that everything is constantly perfect all the time. What I worry myself and them with is aggression and a willingness to just go in and throw as hard as you can at somebody to try and get the maximum effect that you can. I'm not so worried about you having the best footwork, or whether you look through your binoculars, or if you're here or whatever, right? There's some things I will talk about. Like, for instance, if somebody throws a jab and they drop their hand down here, and then they like throw the cross and then the hook, I'll be like, no, you got to keep those up. You got to go jab, cross, hook, right? But I'm not so worried about them having the greatest footwork or the greatest head movement or the greatest whatever, right? My main concern is their aggression, because they're going to be able to beat someone who has the best technique but no aggression. Somebody who has done flow drills forever and ever and ever but has not actually fought somebody for real. That's also why we do sparring the first day. If you come into my gym, I'm going to teach you some basic stuff. You may only know a jab, but I'm going to say, hey, just throw a jab, and if you want to try this, try it, you know. But you know you got your jab, so just focus on throwing the jab. And then you see someone do something and you're like, hey, I think I could do that. You want to try that? Go ahead. I'll work with you, right? So if you look at the guys that I train, you're going to notice a lot of them don't have perfect technique. They're not flawless or anything like that. But I know they could beat the fuck out of somebody from like wild card boxing or even Big Six, right? I know my guys could go down to Big Six. If I took a guy who was trained, and this is not an indictment of like the dudes at Big Six or anything like that. It's just Big Six. When I think of some of the best gyms in New England in terms of boxing, I think of Big Six, right? Like, I guarantee you they're going down there and they're not having their guys spar the first month they're there. So if I take my guys who they spar the first month that they're there and I bring them down, and I take a guy that is a month in at Big Six, my money is on my guy, even though Jason Estrada and his team on paper are better coaches than me. It's just the simple fact that fighting and practicing technique are two different things, you know, and that's something that you see it in the unarmed combat game, but you especially see it in the armed combat game, where dudes will spend years of their time doing this, and they won't spend any of that time actually fighting anybody with this cane or with any kind of stick or anything. And because of that, they I mean, look at this, right? You're gonna see 1, 2, 3, 4, like, what's that? 5 or 6 flips that he did. If somebody did 5 or 6 of those, I'm gonna move in and I'm gonna smash him in the head with my cane. That's what's gonna happen. But this looked really cool. I bet he or whoever taught him that, or whoever invented this Cas Pin fighting cane shit, whoever invented that, they're probably like, oh, that's really good technique. That would work really well against somebody else. But it's not going to, you know? This is why Johnny reasonably should have beaten Daniel in Karate Kid, but Mr. Miyagi used chi magic. That's exactly what it is. Mr. Miyagi, the demon. Like fencing masters getting jobbed by randoms because the untrained dude would kamikaze through the thrust despite getting a sword in the chest. I mean, and that's kind of the thing too that's frustrating. That's kind of the other side of it too, is that like, when it comes to certain things, you almost have to play the game, Your World Tonight, where like a fencer, right? If you like it depends. It depends, really. You know, like, if you get stabbed through, if you get ran through with one of those sabers or one of those epées or anything like that, I think is what they're foils. And epée is like a point, or it's some kind of fucking bullshit. But if you get ran through with one of those foils, right? Depending on where you get hit, there's a very good chance you're going to be dead very, very soon. So because of that, I mean, yeah, like when a fencer pokes you, it's like technically you're kind of dead, right? But that's kind of the thing, is like fencers are specialized in doing that. So if you get a guy who is able to close distance like that, it's not going to be very good for the fencer, you know? There's really, what I'm arguing for is a nuance here. What I'm arguing for is a nuance, and a lot of people think they are nuanced, but they're not. They're impotent, is really what it is. There's a certain impotence towards their training, or not towards, but in their training methods and their philosophy and the way that they operate in general. And because of that, again, they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, again, 5 to 6 little twirls, and then they finally throw a shot, is what they do. And they think that that actually has a combat application, but it doesn't. There's no combat application that requires you to have 5 to 6 of those things. It's just not going to work out, right? And then on the flip side of that, it does get annoying when you like oh fuck. I actually talked about this on Twitter and Instagram the other day because this really annoys the fuck out of me. Sparring is annoying because it's not a zero-sum game, but it's practicing a zero-sum game. What I mean by that is only one person can win. Nobody really is supposed to win at sparring. That's not how sparring goes. Sparring is practicing for a situation where only one person can win. The other person, the loser, ideally is going to end up getting knocked the fuck out. That's the way that it is. So sparring becomes frustrating because if you're doing it right, you're practicing for a situation where you're going to starch somebody, but you're not actually going to starch somebody in the sparring. So you have a situation where you know, okay, I could totally fuck this guy up, but I'm not going to. And what happens every now and again is the person that you're going with, who you could murk at any given point, they take that for granted and they start playing like they're better than they are. You see, I'm having a hard time explaining this. I know what I'm talking about, but it's tough for me to get the words out right now, and I don't know why, right? What I'm saying is there's a lot of nuance in martial arts, and there's a lot of flatulence in martial arts. And if you have been around combat for as long as I have, you're probably more aware of some of these things. I'm not saying you have to be. A lot of you guys are aware of a lot of this shit too, right? But you have a bunch of different kinds of people who have a bunch of different ways of doing things, and not all those ways of doing things are good. You have some guys who think that this is okay, and they think that they would totally be able to beat the fuck out of that guy who is absolutely positively like hell-bent on knocking them out, to the point where they're willing to take a cane upside the head if it means they get to give a cane upside the head to this guy. And this guy over here is doing his twirls while that other guy who's trying to kill him moves in and shoves a cane straight up his ass. You have people who are like this, and you have a lot of guys who are like that across martial arts. You have them in karate, you have them in jiu-jitsu, you have them in Muay Thai, you have them in everywhere, right? But then there's also a flip side of it where you have people who, they almost have the opposite problem, where when practice time comes around, they are not willing to play the game. And what I mean by this is, when it comes to practice, you're not supposed to be trying to hurt your partner. You're supposed to be drilling, either that or you're sparring. And in the sparring, you're practicing for when you're trying to hurt somebody, but you're not supposed to be actually trying to hurt somebody. So what happens is you have situations where one person starts getting a big head because they are being irresponsible. You'll go 50%, right? They'll go 55%. You think, oh, they want to go a little bit harder than what we're going now. That's fine by me. I'll pick it up a little bit. And then when you match their 55%, they start going 60%. And you're like, what the fuck? Okay, I guess they want to go a little bit harder. So you match their 60%, they go to 65 or 70, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going, right? And soon you're in the middle of a fight. A lot of people will take advantage of that because either A, there's going to be a fight and somebody could get hurt, or B, somebody is going to be responsible. And they're going to be like, whatever, I guess I'll just stop it here. This guy can go 75. I guess I'll just go 70. And he's going to land more punches than I will, and he's going to evade more punches than I will, not because he's actually better than me, but because he's trying harder. Yeah, If you try as hard as you can to land a punch, you're probably going to land it on somebody who's not trying to avoid the punch. If you try as hard as you can to evade a punch, you're probably not going to get hit when somebody is not trying to hit you that hard, right? And that's kind of what I was talking about with what's it called? I don't know, smart moron. I don't answer questions like that. Like, who would have won? Prime this guy or prime that guy? That's like stats talk. That's like stats guy talk, you know? That's like, oh, dude, Laquavius Jackson ran for 400 yards last season. How are you going to say he's better than Ladavius Quaxon? You know, I try to avoid those kinds of conversations because they just kind of they nauseate me a little bit, if I'm being honest with you, smart moron. That's why I don't answer questions when people are like, "Who's gonna win tonight?" Magomedov or Jagomedov. You know, like I don't answer those questions either. You know, but what I was saying is like it gets frustrating because a lot of the time these people they allow it to go to their head, you know, and it's just really stupid. And that's the kind of thing that will happen with a fencer is like if they poke you with that sword, with that foil, that is supposed to represent them killing you. So if you get poked with the foil, you should stop where you're at and be like, oh, you got me? Especially if they get you anywhere in this region, you know, forget about it. That's around where the heart is. You know, they're gonna nail you and you're gonna die very quickly. Once your heart is pierced, you don't have a lot of time, you know? So like I could understand the frustration of somebody who is a fencer, let's say, who like they poke somebody in the chest, especially like I said, where the heart is, and then that guy is like, and he starts like whacking them with whatever other sword they're practicing with. I could understand that being annoying, you know. There's a nuance that a lot of people do not want to be aware of because it means that they might have to lose at some point, you know. This guy doesn't want to be aware of the nuance that exists within his own little art, where it's probably not a good idea to do all the flips and all the shit when you're in the middle of a fight, because he would have to admit that, yeah, maybe he's not training the best way he could, and maybe he's going to lose at some point, you know. Glub Shido versus the Grungleman. Yes. Modern day epées are metal but blunt, but even back in the day, like the 1800s, when they would fight for real, it was very common for both fencers to get stabbed. Yeah, and that is kind of the thing is nobody wins in a knife fight, you know. It is not good. It's not good, you know. Especially like I could understand two people with the epées. Apparently they are called epées. Two people with the epées, yeah, it would be really easy for them to stab each other. But what I'm talking about, like what I envisioned when you said that your world tonight about fencing masters getting jobbed by randoms, what I assumed you meant and what I took from that is the idea of like a fencing master with their epée and some other dude with like a knife or an axe or like a broadsword or something like that, where it's like they're not, you know, they don't have the reach that an epée has or something like that, you know. Again, that's the nuance that I was referring to. Is I misunderstood, so I thought you were referring to a situation that you weren't. And there is a nuance in that. I'm gonna one moment. Maybe I'm just retarded, but you're a pretty good speaker, Scott. I enjoy listening to you talk about bullshito. Well, I appreciate that, gay guy. Yeah, I mean, like, I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I trip over the words or something like that because usually if I'm gonna talk about a subject, I like to think about it prior to. I like to organize my thoughts so that I can get them out in a way that I feel good with, that I feel like I'm actually doing a good job. A lot of it, even if it's like kind of stupid of me to be this way, a lot of it comes down to whether or not I feel like I've done what I'm talking about justice, whether or not I'm happy with it or not. And if I'm not happy with it, it's usually because I didn't feel like I did it justice. But you know, like I know what I'm talking about with this for sure, you know, and it's a big topic. It's a big topic to talk about because there's so many little quadrants and things like that, you know. One sec. Drive it faster. Speed up the pace. My head still hurts from the migraine yesterday. That's so annoying, dude. That's so fucking annoying. Anyway, yo, Scott, does your gym play music? My gym has an insanely whack playlist sprinkled with ICP. Yeah, I play music. It's, you see, I'm treating my current gym like a learning experience. I'm treating my current gym like a learning experience, and I'm learning that I should not give a fuck about whether or not people are happy with the playlist to a certain degree. Um, because what I did was I created a playlist with so many different kinds of music on it that it is almost like a little weird. It's like you try to get into it, you try to get into a groove, and it just like it just doesn't work because like Earth, Wind and Fire will play, and then As I Lay Dying will play, and then the Traveling Wilburys will play, and then it'll go to Slightly Stupid. It's like it's all over the fucking place, and that's not the best thing necessarily. I also experimented with reggae because I was tired of everybody trying to kill each other during jujitsu all the time. So I figured, hey, maybe if I play a little bit of like relaxed music, nice easy beats, island vibes, island vibes. Maybe if I play some shit like that, um, people will calm the fuck down. And it may have worked, it may not have worked, but I could tell people were really not feeling it when I played John Wayne or some of the other shit that I played, you know, Egyptian. Actually, no, I think people liked Egyptian. Fucking, you know, Egyptian makes good music, but regardless, like there's a piece of me like, yeah, you know, fucking, I was trying to make everybody too happy. Fucking, if there's one thing that I can't stand though, it's people who they're music snobs, but not like like I don't like anyone who's a snob about anything necessarily, except for maybe martial arts, because then there's a conversation I can have with them. But the kind of guy who's like a music snob, whether it's because like they know a bunch of bands and they try to tell you about why a band is good or bad from a technical level, like an Anthony Fantano type asshole. But I especially don't like people who are like, oh, we're gonna listen to 5 songs that I want to listen to, and it's all gonna suck. It's gonna be like Hollywood Undead, Macklemore, like that type of shit. Like I've had friends who were like that, and like the second I want to put something on, I throw it on, and they're like, "Dude, this fucking sucks, dude. Dude, this fucking sucks." Like it's so annoying to have somebody who's like, "You got any of this? You should play some of this. It'd be really cool if you played some of that." It's like, shut the fuck up and work out. Shut up and work out. Do the fucking box jumps and keep your mouth shut, you idiot. You know, that's whenever someone's like, you should put on some of this. You know, it's like, get the fuck out of here. Shut up. You know? Like, there's this one song, like, the worst thing you can do is put on a Viking type song. And what I mean is like Peyton Parrish type shit. You know, there's that one song from like, I think it's from Assassin's Creed Valhalla or something like that. It's like, far from the fjords and the ice cold currents. It's like that. It goes like that at one point, and it like fucking like I put that song on because it's a good song, regardless of how you feel about like that genre of music and that genre of guy. It's a good song, you know? And as soon as I put it on, this one dude at my gym is like, "Oh, you like Peyton Parrish? Oh, dude, I love that Viking stuff. Here, I'm gonna send you tons of stuff. You should add it to the playlist." And I was like, fucking, I was like, "Oh yeah, nah, I'll listen to it." Never listened to it. Didn't bother with it. Never added it to the playlist. For the next month, he was like, "Oh, did you add those songs yet?" And I was like, "Oh no, dude, I forgot. I'll add it when I get home." You know, there's nothing I hate more than people who can't put up with music that they're not 1,000,000% a fan of. And there's nothing I hate more than somebody who like thinks that you want to listen to their music. I can't stand that shit. Did you play Pum Pum in Jamaica? I should have added that. I should have added that for sure. You know, my gym does reggae during jujitsu. It's a nice touch. Yeah, it's nice. The issue is like, if I'm being completely and totally honest with you, right? I've kind of opened up a little bit more about my experience at my gym, right? And I'm not trying to bash the place completely and totally, you know, but it's a certain kind of gym and certain kind of people are attracted to it. And those kinds of people tend to be weirdos and old people. And there's reasons for this that I'm not going to go into right now, right? Um this, as somebody who wanted to be a fighter, this was not a gym that I should have been around. And because I was so naive, I allowed myself to get deep into this gym. And that's why I don't fight anymore. And that's why when I do fight again, I'm going to be very, very selective about who I fight. And if I can't get somebody who is 10, not even 10, like 5 and 18, if I can't get somebody who's 10 and 100, I'm just not going to fight. Because I know that this place is not going to be able to get me ready for a fight. It's just not going to work out that way. It won't, you know. But if there's one thing I can't stand, it's like boomers who are like, you know, hey, you ever heard of Greta Van Fleet? They sound just like Led Zeppelin. Trying to be like, oh, like you should put Greta Van Fleet on there. Like I want to listen to fucking boomer tunes. Like I want to listen to what you listened to the first night in your new house that you bought for $55,000 back in 1978. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Is to have to listen to your fucking victory soundtrack. You fucking asshole. Get out of here. You know, like I don't want to. It's I know people accuse me of not having personality. I know people accuse me of not having a stage presence and stuff like that. A lot of that comes down to the fact that I had no fucking clue what I was doing and I couldn't get any help from anybody during Fish Tank. Like I had people were looking at me like I was supposed to know what I was going to do from day to day during season 2, as if I'm in the basement watching what's going down constantly. You know, like it was really weird, but like beyond that, like I would rather not have a personality. I would rather be stoic. I would rather be like soft spoken, quiet, and stuff like that, and not be cumbersome to people, not be bothersome to people, not constantly be getting on people's nerves with my like, oh, you know, Led Zeppelin's good. You got any Zepp on there? I'd rather not be that guy than be that kind of guy who's like, oh, we listened to five of my songs back to back to back, and one of them was like 7 minutes long. But now you're playing one of yours, dude. This sucks, dude. Turn this shit off, man. What the fuck? I want to listen to more Macklemore. That's literally like this dude I grew up with. I love him to death. I haven't talked to him in a long time. We got different lives now, you know. But this dude that I grew up with, like he was that kind of guy. He'd want to listen to like Macklemore and then Hollywood Undead and then like Broken Side, like shit like that. The most trash bands and artists you've ever heard. And then the second you're like, oh hey, I want to put on one of mine. He's like, dude, these guys fucking suck, dude. He'd bitch until you turn it off. And it's like, man, that's so fucking, you're fucking gay for that, dude. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You know? Do people just not use headsets anymore? Well, this is a class environment. I have to be able to speak to these people. I have to yell commands. I have to instruct them. I have to tell them what we're going to be doing next. You know, I mean, I've had one or two people in the class before who they have like an earbud in or something like that. I think that's probably a good compromise, you know? But like overall it is a little bit weird. You know, it is a little strange to be in a situation like that. Especially what if the coach is on this side and you got the earbud in and he's trying to talk to you and shit like that. That's annoying and kind of rude, you know? So it's like it's like people who can't just chill the fuck out and be quiet. I cannot stand people like that. People who can't put up with something that they're not absolutely positively in love with. They have to bitch and moan about it and try and get you to change it, you know? Um it's so stupid, you know? It's so fucking annoying. Um Fucking Ariana Grande, man. Yeah, like there's there's a culture in every gym, and this is not this is something that you don't realize, but you are adding to and subtracting to with everything you do. If you're playing a bunch of hip hop, the kinds of people who come to your gym are probably going to be people who find hip hop to be agreeable. If you're playing a bunch of excuse me, if you're playing a bunch of metal, the people who come to your gym are probably going to be people who find metal agreeable. Now, that's not the only thing, obviously, right? But it plays a much bigger role than you may realize. It plays a much bigger piece. It's a much bigger piece of the puzzle than you may realize. But beyond that, there's other pieces of it where somebody's going to come in like something that would scare away some younger people from my gym would be the amount of people who come in and they're in their 40s and 50s and things like that. If you're the only person who's in your 20s or even 30s who walks into a gym and you are looking around and you want to talk to people about like, dude, I just did a bunch of fucking drinking last night and then I had to get up and go to work, dude. Fucking, oh man, it was crazy, dude. I'm such an idiot for that. But luckily I got through work and somehow I'm here now. I don't even know. When you want to have those conversations and the only conversations that people would be willing to have with you are, yeah, so I was mowing my lawn the other day at my house and I uncovered this snake's house and I was like, oh man, and like I had to call the exterminator to take the snakes out. And then my hot water heater busted, so I got to replace that. Like when somebody wants to have a 25-year-old conversation, but the only people who are around are people who can have 45-year-old conversations, it's that is a disconnect, and because of that, you're gonna have less young people coming to your gym. They're gonna show up, they're gonna hang out for a minute, they're gonna leave, and they're gonna find another place. And when some 45-plus-year-old guy walks in, he's gonna feel right at home, you know. There's reasons why my gym is the way that it is, and I could talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it right now. I'll talk about it when that place is in the rear view. Because, like I've said, I'm getting ready to move out of state. And it's going to be hard for me if I'm living hundreds of miles away to get to that place in the first place, you know? But yeah. Hearing logistics stories in the middle of a spar. Yeah. Yeah. That type of guy is just a woman in a man's body. I mean that in the nicest way possible. Yeah, pretty much gay guy, you know? Excuse me. I have Poom Poom in Jamaica stuck in my head again. Not again, you know, but you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean by that. In Jamaica. Man. Hmm. I don't know what else to talk about. I figured I'm slowly just not checking in on the fish tank site anymore. I'll do it like maybe once a day. But I'll be honest with you guys, I alluded to it yesterday. It's pretty frustrating that when I check the site to see if I can stream, this is what happens. And I know these guys aren't doing a whole hell of a lot right now. I know these guys are not doing a shit ton on the site. I wouldn't believe them if they tried to lie to me and say, yeah, dude, we got so much going on the back end, dude. I'm sorry. We just can't take care of it. We don't know what's, oh, dude, I'm sorry. I wouldn't believe them if they tried to tell me that. You know, they have time to put Sardine Tin up. They have time to have Kaylee back on the site, which I'm glad to see Kaylee back on the site. Me and Kaylee are cool. I actually have wanted to see her on the site for a long time. I'm not going to pretend like I went to the end of the earth to get her back on the site, but I did do a thing or two, um, to try and help her. I tried to advise her on what to do and how to do it, Um, you're seeing again Betty on the site via Rachel's streams, which like with the beef that they have, you would think that they would tell Rachel, "Hey, don't let Betty on the site." That I'm not even saying I want bad things for Betty or that like she should be on the fucking site, blah, blah. But like it's just it would make sense for them to be like, "What the fuck? Why is she hanging out with Rachel while Rachel's on the site? We should let her know, hey, don't do that." I'm literally the only one who is not streamed on the site, and it's starting to feel purposeful, if I'm being honest with you, and it's getting on my nerves. And I'm not gonna keep checking in, but it's just like, man, that's not cool, man. That's not fucking cool, dude. Fucking, I can't get answers from people as well. I'm being left on red, and it's like, that's you guys are gay for that. There's mistakes, and then there's mistakes that are on purpose, and then there's mistakes that are actually accidental, but you're handling it in such a poor way that it's like, what else is somebody gonna think other than, they're ducking me, And as a person who has been with fish tanks since pretty much day one, that is kind of gross, Fucking Sam's Fantano diss has a Jungle DNB remix. It's pretty great. I feel like I've heard of that. I feel like I've heard about that. But yeah, it's just yeah, it's disrespectful. Is I think the best way to put it. It's disrespectful. I feel disrespected. And I've been mistreated for a long time, if we're being completely and totally honest here, whether it's purposeful or not. And I don't want to hear, like, it was an accident, it was a mistake, man. We'd never try and fuck with you. It's like, well, you might not try, but that doesn't mean you didn't. If I burned down your house by accident, you wouldn't be like, it was just an accident, bro. Yeah, you know. But, yeah, so, whatever. It is what it is. I'll just slowly stop. You know what? I'm just slowly going to stop going to the site. And, whatever. That's just one more person who is down, who is no longer going to be associated in any way, shape, or form for no good reason. For fucking no good reason, Kind of cut off vibe from the sound of it. It's feminine. It's feminine behavior. It's very feminine. It's female trait type shit from these guys, if we're just being honest about it, Not to like shit talk necessarily. I want to when I have a problem with somebody, I try to avoid shit talking so much as just listing off or explaining why I'm upset. But that's a very female thing to do, is not be able to talk to somebody, even if it is a misunderstanding. You have to explain, hey, this is a misunderstanding. We're trying our best. Just, sorry it's taking so long, man. We don't know what it is, but we are trying. Sorry, Oh, man. But yeah. Fucking, it's just stupid, And I wouldn't be cut off either, is the stupid thing. Like, the weird thing about it, too, because I was going to be not just a writer for Blood Games, but I was going to be one of the top NPCs, right? I'm not going to spill the storyline that we were working on, but I was going to be one of the most important NPCs along with Brian. Me and Brian were going to be, like, there was going to be a huge, huge part that we played in the storyline of Blood Games 2 that we would have been integral, Try and talk to them first, and if they continue to shut down, that's when it feels okay to yap about people. You see, I don't want to be one of those people who, because I feel slighted, I start saying things. Like, I know the meme about me is that I'm just like a big dumb MMA guy and I don't know things, but I'm a lot smarter than a lot of people will understand. I see things, I hear things, I am able to suss things out even if I haven't been told them. I understand a lot. I know a lot. And this isn't a threat or anything like that, but I'm not going to talk about like that time that this happened and I got a weird feeling about this and blah blah blah. I'm not going to sit here like because I feel slighted by these guys start trying to be like Mr. Expose or something like that. That's not going to be that's not that's, that would be feminine on my part. Oh, I was cool with all this stuff you guys were doing and saying, and I didn't think it was a problem until I started feeling upset, and now I'm gonna what talk shit? Like no, no, of course not. I'm gonna be a man about it, even if I feel like other people are not being men about it. I'm gonna be a man about it because what else am I gonna do? Stoop to the level of a female? No, that's ridiculous. That's awful. Um, just sucks, man. You deserve better than being dicked around by them. I definitely do 100%. Like if I'm being completely and totally honest with you guys, I don't talk too much about my involvement on a level where I like self-aggrandize or things like that. But I'm part of the reason why Sam was able to come back in the way that he was. It was two major things that allowed Sam to have his comeback. One was the iDubbbz documentary, and then two was that boxing match. And the reality of his training for boxing was he would go to Big Six and he would hit the bag, and sometimes like people would hold pads for him and he'd spar with people that were down there. That's how he met Sean Bay. But when I spoke to Sam, like, so what are you doing down at Big Six, there was nothing about like any sort of mentally prepping for the fight. There was nothing about any sort of actually like game planning. Like, all right, round one, you're going to come out, stick to mostly your jab, only fire off your cross if you see a real opening. All right. You're trying to maintain energy. You're trying to preserve energy to the best of your ability here because this could go 3 rounds. All right. You don't got to go crazy. Don't go out there and burn yourself in the first round. I was the one who was doing that with them. I was the one who once a week I would go down, I'd spar with him a little bit. I'd purposefully take it easy in certain ways so that he could get more practice, like situationally in the sparring. I would purposefully try to find ways that I could put him in positions and places. I fought exactly like how Thompson fought. And even Sam was like not thinking Thompson was going to fight like that. He literally tried to tell me like, you should just throw jab cross hook because I think that's what Thompson's going to do is he's going to fight like somebody who did a month of boxing and really listened as hard as he could. And sure enough, what was Thompson doing? Overhand right the entire time because that's what people default to, especially against someone who's taller than them, is the overhand right. Like I'm a big reason why Sam was able to win that fight. And Sam has said it himself that if he lost that fight, he'd probably be working at a fucking, I almost said Circuit City, which would basically mean he doesn't have a job, but he'd be working like retail somewhere, is what he said. He'd be like his life would have been kind of fucked up. Everything would have been fucked because his whole personality, his whole persona would have gone down the drain. You know, like I definitely deserve better than this, even if it was a situation where they're like, hey man, we kind of can't work with you anymore for this reason or that reason or the other reason or this or that or whatever. I at least deserve an explanation in a calm manner that is not aggressive or hurtful or anything like that. I deserve to be let down easy at the very least. And that was a very frustrating thing over the last year, if I'm just being completely honest, is like seeing what happened with season 3, me hyping it up because I was told multiple times by multiple people, we'll see you for season 3, and then I wasn't allowed on. I wasn't the only one who wasn't allowed on. And given the situation that they're in, it's a little bit more understandable, but also there's no reason they couldn't have told me. So that I wouldn't make a fool of myself and then give all the people who hate me like ammo to use. I wouldn't give it, like I said, I'm not going to talk shit about anybody regardless of how like hurt I feel, because I'm not going to give bad actors. I'm not going to give people who hate me and Jet ammo to use against Jet because one day he said this or he was upset about that or whatever, right? I'm not going to do that. That would be wrong of me. You know, I'm not going to do that kind of thing. That's not cool, you know? Um Listen, bro, you have homies sitting into a box, girls shitting into a box. Girls shaking asses is trash. Yeah, yeah. The box shitting boys. They really don't give you as much credit as you deserve for real. Oh yeah, they definitely don't. They definitely don't, you know. I'm used to that kind of thing though. My entire life I've been the kind of guy you call in when you need a job done the right way the first time. I'm very meticulous. I pay very close attention to detail. I will get somebody out of a fucking bind depending on what they need me to do and stuff like that, you know. Um I'm very good at doing things the right way. But a lot of people who are not good at doing things the right way, if there's one thing they're very good at, it's like taking, and I'm not saying this is Jet. I'm talking more broadly about my life at this point, or Sam for that matter. They're very good at taking credit for things that they did not have as big of a hand in, you know, that type of shit. Um, Take your rage out on doing push-ups. That's a good idea. Um, it's a shame they have such poor communication. Yeah, pretty much. 90% of the problems Fish Tank is facing now could have been avoided if they would just give it us straight rather than continue with these indirect gaslight answers. Yep. You see, communication is a skill, and a lot of people don't have that skill. A lot of people, for one reason or another, they never get good at it. And what's more is they see proper communication and they become impatient with it. You know, um, some people simply don't have the intellect, and I don't think Jet and Sam and Ben are like that. I think Sam is. I respect Sam intellectually. I think he's a very intelligent guy. You know. He's like me. He makes reads on people very easily, very quickly, and stuff like that. Um, but a lot of people who they never bother to get good at communication, they just sit there and they assume that because you're good at communication, that that's like bad or something like that. You know. Um, they'll make up lies, or they'll make up like excuses, they'll gaslight and all this other stuff, and because of that they'll piss people off because like they'll oh excuse me, they'll say they want an apple and they'll send someone on a quest to get an apple, and then by the time the person comes back with the apple, they're like, what do you have an apple for? I changed my mind a while ago, I wanted an orange. And they'll act like you're the weirdo, you're the asshole because you weren't told that he wanted an orange now, you know, that kind of thing. Oh, excuse me. Blood Games was shit though. I think Blood Games was the best thing they did. It fell apart for a couple of different reasons. Um, but I think it was the best thing they ever did. And I think Blood Games 2, one of the things we worked on was putting in fail safes. There was enough redundancy both in the chain of command as well as in what we were planning the day to day. That like if there was a situation where like you know, this person was sick and they had to be in bed all day, well, that's fine. We don't have to do the quest that we were planning today. We can move that to tomorrow, and we can do this quest that we had in reserve for another person who's not sick in bed all day, like that kind of thing, you know. That was one thing that we especially worked on, was we tried to make sure that it's not just like, oh, we're larping in the woods, but we had an actual system ready to go for both um, communication and decision making, directors. I was going to be a director as well. I was going to be in there, like in the nerve center, telling people, no, you go do this, you do that, blah 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 blah, you know. um but then in addition to that, like I said, like we had more options for different things and everything like that. So if one thing doesn't work, we can lean on something else, you know. Sam is very well spoken and charismatic, at least in comparison to all the other talking heads I've seen. Oh yeah, you know. um he has a grasp of things on a level that to me is not that impressive, if I'm being honest with you. But that's because, like I said, he and I think of things in a very similar way. What he is good with is definitely his communication. I think he is probably better in terms of being able to sit in front of a camera and talk about things. He's a little bit better spoken than I am. But like a lot of the things that he says, Nick Fuentes is the same way, where it's like people talk about Nick Fuentes like he's a savant. And like I listen to Nick Fuentes speak, and it's like what do I've been talking about this shit for years. What are you talking about? Like, that's not that impressive. But then I remember most people are not like me. Most people are not like a Sam or a Nick. So while me, Sam, and Nick might look at each other, I don't know how Sam views me. Maybe he underestimates me. Maybe he has a good understanding of who I am and what I'm capable of. Maybe even overestimates on some level. I don't know, regardless. But like, we might be able to look at each other and be like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty elementary." Yeah, I happen to agree with that. I think that's a good baseline to build your ideals off of. Other people are going to look at them and be like, "Whoa, I never thought of it like that." You know? And I'm not trying to self-aggrandize here either, you know? That's not even what I'm trying to do. I understand myself. I understand some of the things that I'm good and bad at. You know, one thing that I'm not that great at is standing in front of a camera and trying to be funny. I have a hard time keeping up with people, especially ones that are on a level like a Charles Carroll or an Eric Hayden or a Sam or a Nick or something like that. I'm not going to be the funniest guy in the room there. It's not going to happen, you know. Um but yeah, Blood Games 2 powered by Unreal Engine. I take it you don't want to talk about the Jet stuff, Scotty. I don't really know about any of the shit going on. I'll be honest with you. I stay out of drama. I stay out of what's going on with anybody at all times because I think that a lot of the time it's not coming from a good place. It's not coming from a place of genuine care or genuinely wanting to do the right thing or anything like that. So even if there was fire to the smoke, which I don't know what the smoke is in the first place. Like I said, I stay out of that shit. It's like, well, you know. How bad are the ticks up there? Depends on where you're at. Depends on where you're at, you know. I mean, like you can have a wooded area and then an area that's very like suburban and stuff like that. And because of that, there might be mad ticks in the wooded area, but you walk, 100 feet that way and there's no ticks, you know. Fish tank problems are essentially production putting sticks in their bicycle wheels repeatedly without learning anything. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have to say what Airsoft Fatty has become is awesome. Oh, yeah, like, I'm really proud of Chris, you know? I'm really proud of what he's doing with himself. I'm really proud of, the stuff that he's been able to accomplish. And I mean, everybody is. This is kind of like that stuff where it's like, oh, like what I was talking about, like, oh, what, like that's is that supposed to be novel? Like, yeah, everybody's proud of Chris, you know, but like I still feel that it bears saying. I think it bears repeating, if you will, you know. Just looking around here, hitting the nail on the head. I don't know. By the way, what's going on, Tank watching? It's been a while. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what you're saying. I'm hitting the nail on the head for, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. OP said Scott the Hitman. I feel like I already said that earlier, but I think it's funny. Damn, Scott's breakout Hollywood role stolen from him, dude. Dude, it was supposed to be my shot, man. Supposed to be my fucking shot, dude, and it's gone. Dude, oh man, damn it. They were gonna see me dressed up in all black in the August sun in New England and be like, "That's our man. That's our man." When I go to try out for Martin Luther King, the Martin Luther King biopic, they're gonna be like, dude, you see him wearing all that leather, all that black leather, dude. That's how we know. That's how we know he could be MLK. You should do a diss track. Yo, fish tank. You guys nuts stank. Fucking me and Ty, we collab on a fish tank diss. That'd be funny as shit. No, but I mean, like, you know, I don't want to sit here bitching and moaning too much. It's frustrating. You know, thank you very much, Zoomer Jejre. Scott, my fucking goat. Thank you for Zomer, not Zoomer. Excuse me, sir. Thank you very much, Zomer, calling me your goat. Thank you very much. But yeah, I don't want to fucking sit here and you know, I don't want to sit here bitching and moaning forever and ever. It's just you know, it sucks because you grow an appreciation for people and you just realize that a lot of these people don't actually give a shit, you know. When you go one place and you hit somebody up and you're like, "Hey, I'm in town." And they come to your place and they don't hit you up to say, "Hey, I'm in town, let's hang out," you know. When there's a video of like Brandon Buckingham's video, for instance, right? There's no reason why I shouldn't have been down there for that. You know, it's just a ton of little cuts, and I've been sick of it for a long time. And this is like the final straw where it's like, you guys are really gonna be gay about it like that? Come on, man. What are you fucking doing? I can't stream on the site. I'm one of the most loyal people, you know, and you're really gonna be like that. It's like, man, come on, dude. But I'm not like angry in a way where it's like, fuck them, dude, fuck those guys, dude. I'm just upset, and it's one of those things where I wish that they would man up and have a conversation with me about it, regardless of what that conversation is. Whether it's, "Yo, our bad, dude. We definitely fucked up. We should have treated this a lot better." Or if it's like, "Hey, man, you're not going to be on the site. Sorry." Either one. Be a man. Have some balls. It's through fucking text. It's through social media anyway. What are you afraid of? You know, it's like, get the fuck out of here. You know, be a man. Especially all the shit that I've like tried to help with too. Getting e-celebs that might be down to come on, you know, people who like, it's gonna open up Fish Tank to new audiences and stuff like that. Imagine if we got Arnold Allen to fly in for Blood Games 2. That's a current UFC guy who is, I believe, ranked. I believe Arnold Allen is ranked in the top 15 right now. Yes, he is the number 6th ranked UFC featherweight. I was in his DM asking him if he knows about Fish Tank, and he was like, "Yeah." And then I ghosted him because I got told, "Nah, we're not going to bring him in." Jason Mayhem Miller, the bully beatdown guy. Like, that would have been eyes on it. It's like, I'm trying to help out and I can't even get that shit, you know? Like, that's what it is. It's not, I'm like, friendship with Fish Tank ended. It's like, nah, guys, you gotta treat me better than that, you know? That's not cool. You know? Ryan once followed me down a slide to record me taking a shit down a water slide at the Golden Nugget. I would assume that's what it is. What is with you and shit, Brad Baldwin? What is with you and shit, Brad? You sent me a video yesterday. Blood Games 2 in Gaza. That's exactly what we needed, you know? That's exactly what we need. That video idea about joining some martial arts tournaments and see how you fare that you were talking about a while back would be some real stuff. Yeah, I mean, I could try something like that. It's just it like what put a bad taste in my mouth. I'll show you guys the video, right? I'll show you guys the video that I did. Sanda. Yeah, I'll show you guys what I was talking about, right? You've done a ton. Season 2 would have sucked fucking dick without boxing. Oh yeah, boxing was a huge part of season 2, that's for sure, you know? Jason Miller, crazy guy, especially in churches. Oh yeah, you know? I hear he's a riot in a church. Production is scared of anyone that physically mocks them. I don't know if it's that, you know? Treat him right. Treat your Scott right. By Mr. T says oddest. Oh boy. It's just pretty hormonal female shit. You deserve better, Scott. Oh yeah. Oh. But like, oh jeez. This is a video on my channel. It's Kung Fu versus Sanda guys at tournament. It's 20 minutes long. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but this is in Connecticut. I took a week, not a week. What the fuck? I took a day or two off work. It was over the weekend. I went down to Connecticut, which there's nothing to fucking do in Connecticut. I have never thought to myself, hey, let's go to Connecticut. Why would I ever want to do that? You know? This was a Sanda light contact tournament, is what they called it, is what they claimed that it was supposed to be. And I was going to enter this under the guise of basically doing like a Fight Quest kind of video series on my channel. I had already done wrestling. That was a situation where I had wrestled in the past, so it was kind of like cheating. But this was going to be the first proper one where I do a martial art that I did not actually have any kind of experience with beforehand. Sanda is a form of Chinese kickboxing, by the way. You're going to see something here.
What you saw a second ago were the final moments of a light and...
Oh, geez. Fuck him. I had more footage. Is this it? Is this it right here? Yeah, Geez, I was skinnier back then. I was fucking skinnier back then. Definitely younger looking. But, you know, this is like 2-3 years ago, actually. You know, I put on weight, so I've aged very poorly. Again, that's another reason why I'm trying to get away from my gym. But
4 chairs, 1 in each corner.
Nope. I want to see if there's a point. Yes. Here we go. So, I'll go ahead. I'll right here. So this. I'm actually complimenting these girls right here, right? They actually like did pretty well. I want to see if there's a point where they have yes. I'm showing you this to show you guys the issue that this isn't even this is a different one, right? Why did I do it this way? Why didn't I okay. Why didn't I just show all of the footage in the beginning? That was foolish of me. But this right here, right? So this is another adults match, right? This is a dude from Boston University. He's from their like Kung Fu program, which means he spends all of his days going doing that in their gymnasium. This is a guy from an actual like Sanda school, and you're gonna see he just immediately gets his shit pushed in. See, this dude's not exactly like, he's not good. He's not good at all, but he's not exactly going nice and light, nice and technical, nice and easy, which is what we were supposed to do. That's what we were told we had to do, you know? It was just ridiculous. That's why I abandoned that, because I spent all that money on a hotel. I went there and I couldn't even actually take part in it because I was not prepared, and I wasn't going to walk into a situation where even if I could have beat those guys, they were not that good. I wasn't prepared, you know? I wasn't going to walk into an ambush even if I thought I could get the better of it. That's just foolish of me. So after that, I was like, honestly, if there's a chance that these are going to happen like that, I think I'm just going to put that on hold, you know? I am going to be taking part in a Sanda tournament in October, potentially. If not, I'm going to be doing Shuaijiao. That's part of the reason why I'm starting to get like in better shape a little bit here and there, but it we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens with it, you know. Nice pink fur coat. You wear that often, Scoot? Yes, I did. Sam and his crew have been doing the whole pretending like they like people and then later ghosting them for like 15 years at this point. You're definitely not the first. I mean, hey, I don't know, you know? I mean, if I text Sam, he gets back to me, but you know, I noticed that after the bitch tank thing, it seemed different between me and all of them. Seemed a little bit different. That time I was promised that I would be on every season. They said no Scott, no fish tank at the end of Blood Games. That was not the first time that I was given that assurance. After season 2, I was told by Jet that I would be around for every season. Sam also told me he'd see me for season 3. Then there was a day Jet had a birthday party. You know, I just happened to show up thinking we were going to do work. And they were done with the work by the time I got there, and they were like, dude, stick around. We're gonna do, you know, we're gonna have a good time, do some drinking. And I thanked Jet for having me be a part of Blood Games, and he was like, oh, dude, whenever there's fish tank, there's Scott Sullivan. He said that, you know. Baby, can you close the door? Thank you. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So when Bitch Tank came around, it was a very sloppily done thing. It was thrown together at the last minute. And since Blood Games was not as successful as they wanted it to be, and Bitch Tank was very clearly kind of a way for them to negate some of the lack of success from Blood Games, I thought, hey, I'll help if I can. I happened to be hanging around because I figured I'd help them clean up the Blood Games map. And then I'd also say goodbye to some of the people that I haven't seen in 6 months or even a year at this point. You know, I'd show up, you know, this person's Uber's coming to pick them up today to bring them to the airport so they can fly back to Texas or wherever they're from. I might as well go and see them off, you know. I just happened to be around, and one thing led to another, and Jet told me, hey, you're going to be a part of Bitch Tank, and what you're going to do is you're going to hit on all the girls, and you're going to be, like, weird and stuff like that. So I tried to do that to the best of my ability, and then it just seemed like something changed, and all of a sudden they were, like, upset at me or something like that, you know? And from that point, it's been a situation where it's like, okay, am I still affiliated? Am I not? What's going on here? We had that weird situation with season 3 where I figured I would get the call because I was told I'd get the call, but I got an email from Bill talking about like, oh, hang back but stay in touch. And then like what I literally got told by Jet, yeah, there's nothing for you to do in Bitch Tank, but season 3 is a different story. It was just really weird, you know. And again, it's just communication, man, you know. Communication is all I need. It's whatever, you know. I'm not outcome dependent. Like I never thought I would be affiliated with anything Sam Hyde in my entire life. And when I hit Sam up originally, I just wanted to help him beat up Hassan Piker. That's it. And it led to other things that I'm extremely, extremely grateful for. And I'm grateful to these guys. And that's part of the reason why I'm not going to sit there like, oh, well, there was this one guy, Jet said this. And yeah, that made me mad. Like, fuck that, you know? But like, it's like, whatever, dude. Like, if I'm not going to be around, I'm not going to be around. Don't fucking... At least tell me so I can tell people so that when a new season comes up, I don't have to deal with 20 people in my chat like, Scott, get in there, dude. Dude, get in there. They're doing a boxing match. That way I can at least be like, hey, I'm thankful for all the time on Fish Tank. I loved it. Thank you so much. It's time to hit that dusty trail, though. Got to move on with my life. Hey, you know? It's that simple. It's that fucking simple, you know? Scott Y.N. Sullivan. Yeah. Fight Quest type stuff will be some kind of flavor of greatness, IMO. It is a really, really good thing. It is a really, really good idea. I know it's a really, really good idea. That kind of series on my channel, you know. It'd be even better if I could travel around. Like the Sanda tournament that I said I was going to be taking part in, it's not really a Sanda tournament. Honestly, I'll show you video of it. Oh, geez, what am I doing? Just me. Like that. Sandals. No, fucking Sanda. Sanda. So yeah, this right here is pretty much what I'm going to be taking part in. You see how that doesn't look like Sanda at all. These guys are also not the greatest, you know. There's even going to be a point where somebody gets taken down, right? And you're going to see there's some ground fighting going on. This is literally just mixed martial arts, but they're calling it Ultimate Sanda, is what they're calling it. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because I want to move around a little bit with somebody that I don't know, but I want it to be low stakes. This is kind of a tune-up for me where I go, I fuck around a little bit, I see how I feel, see what I want to do, see what I need to do, and all this other stuff, you know. So it's not gonna be like a huge deal or anything like that, you know. If I wanted to, I could go to a place in Maryland where they have Leitai, where it's actually gonna be legit Sanda. But then they even actually have something like this, but they call it I forget what they call it, Shuojo or something like that. And it's interesting, you know. It's interesting. It's cool. Like, it would be better for me to travel around if I was gonna do that, because like there's no Sanda in Boston. There was like one place that had it for a while, but they closed down. You just can't fucking find it. There's one place that has Shuai Jiao, which is a form of Chinese jacket wrestling that I'm also going to be doing. That at the very least is like, that's going to be a little bit closer to what you would actually see in a Shuai Jiao tournament. But it's still like, there's no Shuai Jiao around here, so it's gonna be jiu-jitsu guys who are wearing a different jacket than what you would typically have in a jiu-jitsu tournament, you know. It would be better if I could travel around, but the thing is, that's kind of tough for me to be able to do, considering I have a job and I have to be at my other gym. That's one of the reasons why my e-boy career never took off. There's many reasons. There's many reasons, and most of them are my fault. Let's be honest here. But one of the reasons is that it's hard for me to go to like Tennessee to collab with Greg. It's hard for me to go to Texas and hang out with Ty. It's hard for me to go to LA and like meet up with Trish or something like that when I always have to be at the gym. And none of these people hit me up either, and I don't blame them, because if they hit me up, I'd be like, oh well, actually I gotta be at my gym on Tuesday, you know. If they were in Boston and they hit me up, I'd be like, oh yeah, let me know when you're here, and I'll take the day off and we'll hang out and stuff like that. But they don't really have a reason to come to Boston like that, you know. And they know that I'm not just sitting around doing nothing all day, so they're not going to hit me up. And then in addition to that, let's be honest here, I don't think that I have the closest relationship with a lot of these people, you know. They probably have a view of me that's like, oh yeah, Scott's cool, but you know, why would I hit him up? You know? Let's just be honest here, you know. Typical pleasantries to keep on your good side in the event they need you. Many such cases. Yeah, maybe. You know, Sam talks about two things that I took to heart in his old videos Not his old videos, just his old videos. You know, the ones that are getting to be like 10 years old at this point, the Gumroad videos. Sam talks about little murders, and he talks about paying your people bills. And I guess that's what you could say is I feel that there's been a bunch of little murders over the last however long that have put me in a place where, I mean, now I'm being honest about how I feel about the situation with me and Fish Tank and stuff like that, you know. And then also the people bills have not been paid, you know. Now, I understand they have shit going on. I'm not someone who demands everybody's attention all the time. I'm actually a very low maintenance individual, you know. But if you can't reach out to me, I'll reach out to you. And if when I reach out to you, you're not going to get back to me, or you're going to blow me off or something like that, well, that's a little murder, you know. That is what it is. When you make a promise to me and then you don't follow through on that promise, and you don't explain to me, hey, I'm sorry, I know I said this would happen, unfortunately it can't, I apologize, that's a little murder, you know. That's the type of shit. That's the type of shit that I'm talking about, you know. Don't call yourself an e-boy, Scott. It sounds off. I don't know what else to call myself, you know. I call myself that because it's slightly ironic, where it's like I didn't expect to be in this situation. I've had YouTube channels in the past, but never ones where I've actually showed my face and been like, "Hi, I'm Scott." There's always a pseudonym that I'm using. There's always something that I'm using, whether it was like a face covering even, or if it was like just there's a picture up on the screen and I'm just talking into a microphone, or whatever it may be, whatever it happens to be. There has always there's always been something like that. So for me to be here right now, I'll be honest with you, even now I'm still kind of like, oh man, this is weird. You guys can see what I look like. You can see the faces I make. You can see the way that I move. You can see the look in my eyes, you know, the twinkle in my eyes. It's a really weird thing for me, you know. Even now that I've been at it for a couple of years and I've collabed with some of the people that I've collabed with and stuff like that, you know. I never would have done that, you know. It wouldn't just wouldn't happen, you know. You're a man. You're not an e-boy. You're an e-man. That's what I'll call myself, an e-man. An e-man. Do those fights have monetary prizes? Nah, I'm sure they give out. Medals and stuff like that. But you know, it's just fucking like, you know. Like these guys are not. These guys are not particularly, you know. I know I could starch either of them. An E guy. Yes, I'm an E man or an E guy. An E man or an E guy. Justin Ramiro says, Shane, this is how it ends. Yeah, well, you know, F88 says thoughts on slice of life anime. I've never really been an anime guy. The only anime I've ever watched from start to finish was Yu Yu Hakusho. Other than that, I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball Z because, of course, everybody worldwide watches Dragon Ball Z when they're a child. Never really got into Naruto. Gundam was cool. Rurouni Kenshin, I'd watch that every now and again. Basically all the classics that were on not Adult Swim, Toonami, you know. I'd watch a little bit of that. I found there was an anime that I found recently that I didn't find it recently. I used to watch it when I was a child and I kind of liked it, but I lost, like, I forgot what the name of it was, you know. But oh, you know what? I think I exited. Oh, Cyborg 009, Cyborg 009. I used to watch that a little bit here and there on a Toonami and stuff like that. I remember watching it at my grandfather's house. That's like the one memory that I have of it, is watching it there. You know, that's one of those memories I have of my grandfather's house before my aunt took it and made it modern. But anyway, what was I gonna say? I mean, look, like, I gotta be honest with you guys. My life has not always been the greatest, and I've definitely lost out on opportunities. I've ruined things for myself and stuff like that. And I'm not even saying I ruined things for myself here, but regardless, like, you never know. You might see me back, you know. But I'm just not gonna be on the fish tank site constantly. I'm not even saying I'm never gonna be on there again, but like, for a little while now, I've been checking in like every day, every other day, stuff like that, just saying hello in the chat and trying to see if I can get to the bottom of my streaming situation. And as I see Sardine Tin get added, and as I see Trish start streaming, as I see Kaylee start streaming, as I see literally everybody except me and now Bert, because he was being a fucking asshole and he got kicked off, like, they're able to stream, it's like, it's hard to not feel not wanted, you know? But what I've found is that there's always been something for me, you know? I've always been able to pivot. I lose a job, I find another job very soon after, or if I don't find a job very soon after, it was actually a blessing because I needed to do this or that or this or that or whatever, right? It's one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. I got kicked out of my gym years ago, and that's what allowed me to get involved in the BFS thing that REA was talking about. And through the BFS thing, I was able to learn about this guy called Sam Hyde, who I would end up meeting years later, and I would get involved in some of his projects and things like that. And who knows what the future holds for me now, but I do have a plan. I do have a plan of what I'm going to be doing over the next year, and maybe something else will come up. I'm not saying it's going to be some kind of like internet thing or anything like that. You know, there's a good chance that this time next year you guys will have forgotten about me. I won't be streaming anymore. I'll probably leave the channel up, but you know, I won't be active on it, and I'll just be some other guy who was in Sam Hyde's orbit for a little while who is no longer there, and because of that, nobody cares. You know, nobody cares about me. But I do think God has looked out for me my entire life, even when I stepped away from him. I think that I've been blessed in ways that I definitely don't deserve, but Christ has still blessed me that way because he loves me, and there is a plan. Not because I'm particularly special, but because I think everybody has a plan. And as long as you are not torpedoing your life constantly, if you keep an eye out, you may notice when certain opportunities crop up. And you may notice, oh, well, you know, it might not be a bad idea for me to do this or that or the other thing, you know? Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should try this. Maybe I should do something else, right? It may not always be where you wanted to go originally, but you will find that it's where you needed to be, you know? And regardless of what happens with me, I think I'll always be where I need to be. And I can only thank Christ for that. I can only thank God for that, you know? Nobody else, nothing else. It is all through his will that I am wherever I happen to be. And even if I feel like it's a bad thing at the time, like I felt like it was a bad thing at the time, I thought life was over for me when I had to go my separate ways from the gym that I've been at. I thought that was it, you know? I thought after 22 years, it was time to pack it up, pack it in, you know? But it ended up being a good thing because it allowed me to embark on the best adventure of my life and then follow up with a really fun thing that I was able to do with Sam and Jet and everything like that, you know? My motherfuckers stay jealous of how slick and ginger you are. Oh boy. Have you contacted Jet at all about the streaming? Not that you should have to, or does he just not respond? I don't know if he got a new number or something like that, but Jet was never really that good at responding to me in the first place. Those guys are never good at responding in the first place. You know, it just doesn't happen, you know? Even Sam, like, he'll get back to me, but sometimes it might be like a week from now, you know, that type of shit. So I'm not even going to bother because, like, if anything, those guys should have important shit going on right now anyway, you know? Mintz, I know he's just chilling. He's just chilling, looking after the site. I know that's what's going on, you know. Wes, I know he's got a family, and I'm sure he has other projects that he's got going on, but also Fish Tank is a huge part of what he does, you know. And like there's other people who I know they could bring it to somebody's attention, you know. But I'm not trying to hit them up because I don't feel like bothering them, and I don't think it's gonna yield results anyway. So, you know, the way I've always structured my life is by doing stuff that if the end doesn't play out, whatever I was going to do, going to get, there can just pivot into something else so that the work still matters. Oh yeah, you know, that's what you got to try to do to the best of your ability, you know. That's part of the reason why I'm in the place that I'm in right now is because I put everything into trying to make it work at my gym, but it's not going to work, and it never was going to work, and I was unfortunately too naive to recognize that, you know. And I mean, hey, it is what it is, you know. But now I'm 30 years old, and I'm trying to find an escape route where I can get a little bit more money over the next year. That way, I can save up more, and it'll make it a lot easier for me to move away when the time comes, you know. It's a blessing that you are not going to be collateral damage. I don't know what that means, David, but you know, I can only wait for your OG Fallout streams, dude. And that's the thing is like, if I got on the Fish Tank site, I'd probably take a day off from work. Like this would be one of the things that I do. I'd probably take a day off from work on like a Friday or something like that, or like a Monday. That way I could do a 24-hour stream. I could do like a Saturday into a Sunday 24-hour stream, and I would play through Fallout 2. I did one successful 24-hour stream a little over a year ago, actually. It was like around September, October of 2024. I did a few 24-hour streams. Most of them failed, but one of the streams that I did, the one that was successful, I played from start to finish all of Fallout 1. And I wanted to do it again with Fallout 2. Like that's the type of shit that I want to do. I want to do fun stuff on there. I want to be able to say words that I can't say on here. I want to do stuff that I can't do on here. I want to show you videos that it's harder to show on here because the algorithm might pick it up and be like, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know, that type of shit. I wanted that freedom, and that's why I'm so disappointed, you know? That's why I'm disappointed, and that's why I'm kind of like, ugh, you know? Scott Sullivan backshots technique breakdown. Yeah. I'll be having them done to me, and I'll be telling you guys all about it. Oh man. Sorry, just checking. But yeah, it's not hard to you know, it's not hard at all to like it's not hard at all to do the right thing in terms of like how you communicate with people, you know, and that's something that like I implore everybody here to learn. It's not hard to like talk to people about things, and you should you know, it's easier to make sure all of your ducks are in a row than to constantly be scattered and like having to try and get them all together at the last second, you know. I'm a very messy person myself. I'm looking around in my room. There's a lot of clutter. There's like clothes on the ground and stuff like that. But like there's a method to my madness on that. But when it comes to the way that I deal with people, I am extremely, extremely regimented, you know. I make sure to communicate with people. I don't just do things. I check in. I ask people to check in with me. I tell people what I need from them. I ask them what they need from me. I tell them if there's a change or anything like that, you know. That's one of the most important skills that you can have, and it's one of the most underdeveloped skills in people is proper communication. You need to communicate properly. And if you don't, if you can't, then you're constantly going to be in a situation where you are behind schedule, where you don't have what you need, and you have people angry at you, or you're angry at people because they're not doing what you want them to do because they didn't know what you wanted them to do, you know? So it's like, hey, is Fallout 1 or 2 worth playing in the modern era if I've never played them? They are a million. Play them, Antor, Entor, Iantor. Play them. Just don't overthink it. Just play them. They are fantastic. I've got to say, as a guy who started playing the Fallout series with Fallout 3 in around 2008 or 2009. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Oh, man. I got a migraine, and the residual headache is on this side of my head. So when I sneeze or cough, I'm gonna feel just like a bulging pain, you know? That's why I was like, because that kind of helps it just a little bit when I like pressure down here. But just play it. As somebody who started playing Fallout 3, as somebody who started playing Fallout with Fallout 3 in around 2008 or 2009, and I only went up from there. I played New Vegas, Fallout 4, fuck 76, but, you know, it's there. I did not think I would like the isometric turn-based combat, and it can be pretty slow at first, especially when you are underdeveloped as a character, but the deeper you get into the game, after like 4 or 5 hours of playing, just play 1 hour at a time for 4 or 5 days, and then you're going to notice you get into a groove and things start to get really, really addictive. You don't want to stop playing. Fallout Tactics is a good one too. I would recommend Fallout Tactics. It's a slow, kind of creeping game style, but I like the strategy behind it. It's a squad shooter. I think XCOM is kind of like that. Never played XCOM, never even seen it played, but I've heard people describe XCOM as a top-down, squad-based, turn-based shooter. But play it. You will love it. The amount of love that was put into Fallout 1 and even Fallout 2 is amazing. It is fantastic. Truly two of the best games to have ever been made. Really, in my opinion, you know? And I understand now why people say, oh, dude, Fallout 1 and 2 are better than Fallout 3 and New Vegas and 4. I understand it. I appreciate them both for different reasons, both iterations of the series. I appreciate them both for different reasons, but I get it. I get why somebody would say that, you know? Excuse me. What did you do to get banned from your old gym? I didn't do anything necessarily. Basically, I was being sexually harassed by somebody, and I told the owner, and the person who was doing it was the owner's friend. It was a longtime friend of his, and this is a woman who was in her 40s, maybe even her 50s. She had a child who was only like 5 years younger than me. We barely missed going to high school together. He would have been if I was born a year later, or if he was born a year earlier, I would have been a senior when he was a freshman, and his mom is putting hands on me in inappropriate ways, saying inappropriate things, talking about she wants to work on me and shit like that. And she wasn't attractive, but even if she was attractive, that's very inappropriate, and it makes me uncomfortable knowing that your son is old enough to know that like what sex is, you know, and that like we are that close in age, you know. I'm 30. This kid would be 25 now, you know, maybe even 26. I don't know. But, the guy didn't do anything about it. And in addition to that, he went to her to talk to her about it, and she blamed me. She was like, no, what? No, I'm not doing that. No, actually, you know, he kind of makes me uncomfortable. Actually, he kind of makes me uncomfortable, actually. And it caused disagreements between he and I that got very heated. And one of those heated disagreements ended up resulting in him telling me to hand in my keys, saying that he doesn't want me around anymore. And I was basically like, all right, whatever. So handed in the keys, left, you know? Um, he wanted me to be like, no, but no, but I don't want to go. But at that point, it's like, no, fuck that. You're picking some old bitch over the guy who is actually integral to your gym. You know, like, get the fuck out of here. You know. Um, it was more than that too, but that was the final straw, if you will. You know, that was really the final straw. Um, fun turn-based combat games with lots of story. If you like reading a bunch, yeah, you will have to read a bunch. You will have to read a bunch. That is one thing with Fallout 2. They should have put a lot more animated, voice acted sprites in in Fallout 2. You would have expected a lot more of them than there were. I understand Tim Kaine was not necessarily a one-man team, but like Fallout 1, you know, the original Fallout was like a B team game. Like it was like we got some extra guys, I guess we'll send them over to the Fallout, you know, whatever, you know. Um I take it we're not going to church.
Yeah.
We are?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you let me know that?
I just figured it out. Sure.
What are you letting your mom tell you what we're doing?
No. I just saw what time I would get out of church.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So I got to get out of here soon. I'll give it a little under 10 minutes. You know, once the clock strikes 6, I'll head out of here because apparently I am going to church today. I didn't anticipate that I was going to be going because of some things that went on today, but I guess I am. So that's good. That's good. But it is like, oh shit, I wasn't ready. You know, I would have did laundry earlier if I knew.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because the time.
Yeah.
But,
Now I'm not gonna have laundry for work tomorrow or anything.
so do you wanna not go?
No, we'll go. It's just, you know, I'm like I'm unprepared now. I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Oh no, you know. Um, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, like Fallout 2 though, like by that time that was Interplay's cash cow. Like that was a big enough hit for Interplay to be like, "Oh shit, we really got to put a lot of effort and energy and resources into this." There's no way they couldn't have put more sprites in there, you know? I'm not saying every person had to have a talking head, but like more than like one or two people per town should have had a talking head. It should have been like 60% of them have talking heads, you know? Or at the very least the quest givers. The quest givers. You know, like every single one of them has talking heads and stuff like that, you know? And like people involved in the quests and things like that, you know? Praying for you. Thank you very much, OP. Thank you very much. Gay guy says church it up. As many gay guys do say. Gay guys love church. Um, hmm. Sorry, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check Instagram real quick again. Ah. Hmm. Yeah, fuck it. figure that out later. Can't ask too much from a game made in the 90s. I think you could have asked more, you know. Like I don't believe those talking heads would have I don't believe those talking heads would have been that bad. Would have been that I don't believe they would have been that difficult to program, and I don't think they would have taken up that much space on a disc or anything like that, you know. I would assume Fallout 2 was not on a fucking floppy disk. I would assume that was on a CD or something like that. I would guess it was anyway. I would guess. I don't know, you know. I can remember going to school in the early 2000s. I started going to school in 1999. We had floppy disks in computer class. We also had CDs though. We had CDs and floppy disks, you know. But yeah. Yeah, I really don't have much else to talk about. I don't know what to say right now. I'll be honest with you. So, unless I'll give it another like 30 seconds for someone to say something that triggers me to speak about something, you know. And if you guys don't, I'll probably just head out, you know. But like I'm kind of at a loss for words now. I'm thinking about like, oh shoot, like I gotta get ready for church, and oh man, like I'm gonna have to hope that I have clothes for tomorrow and all this other shit, you know. Talking heads were first made out of clay, a lot of work. That's a good point. That's a good point, Otis. Yeah, that is a good point. But also like, were there not cost-cutting ways that they could have went about it? Like I don't know, you know. I wasn't there. I can't pretend like I know exactly what they were going through or anything like that, you know. It was just it would have been nice. It would have been nice, you know. Yeah, that's excuse me. That's something they did with Mortal Kombat too. There's the sprites in Mortal Kombat were made out of clay. Some of them were just like they were mocapped, you know. They were like motion captured basically. But I don't even think motion capture is like the way to describe it either is the thing. Because a lot of the time it was like they had videos of them doing certain stuff, like, oh, throw a right punch, throw a right kick, you know. Like that's what it was. It was somebody dressed up as the character doing the moves on a camera, and then they took those and they put it in the game, you know. They made them into a sprite and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, what was I gonna say? Same with the WWF arcade game. Really? That's pretty crazy. I miss Claymation. Claymation is one of those things where like there's an uncanny feel to it. But I kind of appreciate it. Like Moral Oral, Robot Chicken, even Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run as well. Chicken Run was Claymation. It was just like there's something about it that's just really nice, and like I don't think it's a lost art necessarily, but for some reason it just fell out of favor, and people just don't do Claymation anymore. They just don't mess around with it, you know. But clay, like the reason why is because it's so tedious, and I'm sure it costs probably more than just doing it on a computer and stuff like that, you know. But like I'd love to see Claymation make some kind of comeback. Very, very, very 90s aesthetic sort of shit. You know, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, definitely. But yeah, I think it's about time to get out of here. Okay, I gotta get ready to go to church. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, as usual. This was a surprise stream today. I didn't plan on streaming. And you know, I'm glad I did. It was something nice to do. I had a good time. Team America Claymation was funny. Yeah, it was funny. It was good. Yeah, so I'm going to be streaming on Wednesday next around 8 or 9 p.m. depends. And then of course Fridays at 9 p.m. is when I'm going to be streaming next. I will talk to you guys later, all right? And yeah, peace out.